Welcome to another episode of Tips from the Swamp by Absolute Control Irrigation Specialists Incorporated. Today we're going to be talking about the communication between the computer in a Rainbird Maxi system to the Maxi interface module, the MIM, and the field satellite. Today we have a computer that we're working with that is right here. The computer has a copy of the Nimbus program on it. That is connected to the Maxi interface module, the MIM, which is over here. The MIM is then connected to the field satellite, which is comprised of a faceplate, a power interconnect that is mounted on a power chassis, two output modules, and also connected is a two-wire communication module. When you first access the Rainbird program, it will start to try and communicate to the Maxi interface module. You'll notice up here there is a light that went red. Initially it was flashing blue and yellow. The blue and yellow indicates it's not connecting. When it locks to red, it says it's locked in. It's now talking to the Maxi interface module. The computer talks to the Maxi interface module using a telephone cord. You can use a standard telephone cord, or you can use the polarized telephone cord that comes with the system from Rainbird. That telephone cord comes into the Maxi interface module, the MIM, connects at the bottom of this board, CPU board, and will be active. One thing to be aware of, right above that connection, there's a switch. That switch is marked A and B. If you're using a normal telephone cord, you want to make sure that switch is in the B position. If it's not, it will not connect to this computer. You need to switch it to B. If you're using a polarized phone cord, such as the one that Rainbird provides, that switch needs to be in the A position. If it's in the A position, it will connect with a polarized phone cord. So if you initially fire up and your computer stays blue and yellow, does not want to connect, then try moving the switch to the other position so that it will be able to recognize the computer will recognize it, and it will lock the thing on. Communication from the MIM to the field satellite is accomplished through this connection here, where you have a two-wire communication cable hooked up. And that normally has a red and a black wire in it. The red wire represents the hot wire, which would connect to the hot position. The black represents the common wire, which would connect to the common position. When this unit is operational and turned on, you'll notice that we have blinking or flashing lights that indicate there is communication being sent out. Each of those outputs, which there are 4 of them, are referred to as a group. That's important to remember when you're setting up your computer and your MIM, as well as your satellite, because you want to make sure that your satellite is on a specific group and has a specific satellite ID or channel number. One of the things that you want to set up on the face of the MIM is the switches, because this will tell you which group number and which channel or satellite is operating, And depending upon how you set your switch up here, it will tell you which satellite is operating, or it will tell you based on the number here, the channel, if it says channel 1, that what stations are operating on channel 1. Up here will tell you what group activities are occurring. The next thing I'm going to do is put this computer into position to manually operate stations. To do that, we click on Monitor Log. Turn that off. Click on Monitor Log. I'm going to clear this. Once we're on Monitor Log, I want to go to where it says Course Monitor DMA. This is where we can turn things on manually from the computer. And I will first start by going to the number 1 satellite, which is channel 1. And I will put time on that and turn it on. And you'll notice that it stays yellow and then goes to red. When it goes to red, it's saying we're connected, we're turned on, and we're talking back. Now, I can turn on multiple stations by individually accessing them, or I can do a copy on the clipboard, which will take the time I have there, put it in a paste mode, and I can paste those times onto the system. It will now go through and turn all of those stations on. You'll notice that we've come back red, so we know that they're all turned on. Meanwhile, over at the MIM, you'll notice that the group activity 1 light is on because we are dealing with group 1. And my satellite is identified as in group 1, and that same identification is in the computer. And you'll notice that I have 5 lights on here, which is station activities, group 1, and down here I have it set to satellite 1. So the information I get is from satellite 1, group 1, and I have 5 stations turned on. If I change this switch to channel activity, what it's telling me is that group 1 is on, satellite 1 is on. Doesn't tell me what's on satellite 1, just tells me satellite 1 is on. If I had multiple satellites running, I would have more lights on. And as you'll notice, we have the faceplate, which is locked on here, that's being communicated from the 2-wire communication module through the power interconnect, taking its signal, and then turning on stations with the signal going back through the power interconnect and down to the output modules. And you'll notice we have several stations turned on. And as we know, at the computer, we also have red indicators which say that it's getting feedback from this face panel through the MIM to the computer, and remembering what is running. As I said, the MIM is showing stations on. We have stations on shown by the red light indicators. The path of communication for this is from the computer through the phone wire to the MIM to the satellite, through the communication module, through the power interconnect, through the face panel, back to the output modules, and then return communication is coming back from the output module to the power interconnect, to the faceplate, back to the communication module, through the 2-wire path, back to the MIM, from there to the computer. When these stations turn off, which I'm going to manually do here at the computer by clicking cancel all, that will turn off all of the stations and the system will go to rest. Now that we've run this system, remember I'd mentioned that we get communication back to the computer. If I now move from the course monitor DMA, I can go up to the course log, and if I click on course log, you'll notice that for satellite 1, it shows you how long those stations operated, so you know how long they watered. That will stay in memory and add run times from other runs if you leave it there, or you can erase it by going over here and clicking on the eraser, telling them that you're sure you want to erase it and no, you don't want it in the season log. And now you're cleared it and you're ready to start all over again. I hope this information has been helpful. This has been another tip from the swamp by Gator with Absolute Control Irrigation Specialists. www.absolute-control.com